Greetings fellow thrill seekers and welcome to the English situation and guide of Novgorod. I'm Chevalier, glad to have you with me. So, this is part 2, the expansion guide of Novgorod, and we're going to talk about how you should expand as Novgorod. Part 1 was the initial situation guide and how you should maximize the start, and let's see. So basically the initial situation guide, we took the mission here to remove Tver, so start up, when possible, declare war on Tver, move, kill, there's not much to say here. Decent amount of base tax, it's gonna save you quite decently. You make it into a state, spend some points, pretty much standard stuff. Now, here comes the hard part. You have no more targets. You can't attack anybody here. Sweden, Denmark is really big, Moscow is really big, Poland is really big, Lithuania they're really big, so the Commonwealth. Only available target is the Livonian Order, but I get an alliance with the Teutonic Order, which really kills your expansion option, simply because you're not gonna have the necessary troops to fight them off. So, my recommendation is alliance with Poland. Once you kill Tver, you're gonna get the power projection, you get an available slot, rival Denmark. That's gonna allow you to get an alliance with Poland, because you rival Denmark. That will allow you to safeguard yourself against Muscovy and Denmark. Then, just play it by the wind. If Poland declares, for example, just do this, and get this on Muscovy, on Sweden, this will allow the Polish to see that if they want to attack, they're gonna have your support because you want lands from Sweden, and keep on doing it, right? And also, if they attack the Teutonic Order, you'll attack the Livonian Order as well. Like, if they attack and the Livonian Order joins, wait a couple of months, 6 months for example, then move into the Livonian Order with your own armies so you can actually squash them and take some lands from them. So fabricate claims on the Livonian Order as well. You can fabricate claims only on Narva and Reval. So you can actually take these two for claims, and I recommend taking Ossel and Goldingen as well, simply because you'll want to have the sea nodes, but you want the Livonian Order to be still active, so you can attack him and take Riga with OCP because they're gonna be most likely their ally. This allows you to fabricate more claims on Sweden, etc., more claims on Gotland, and move on to Belinge and Denmark and move eastwards, westwards. Now, this is all good and dandy, right? The problem is still Muscovy. Before we go into the Muscovite expansion, let's go for a small recap. Alliance kill Tver, alliance with Poland by rivaling Denmark. That's allow you to get an alliance with Poland if you're lucky enough. With the bonus diplo rep you should be able to get it. Then, when Poland attacks the Teutonic Order, you attack the Livonian Order and take some of their lands. You can fabricate claims on Narva and Reval. Then save some lands of the Livonian Order, then attack him again and take Riga. And that is about the expansion of into the Livonian Order. If at all possible, take some lands from Teutonic Order as well, if they're still alive. As for the expansion into Muscovy and Denmark, here comes the tricky part. Against Muscovy, you can ally the Golden Horde and Kazan. They should help you attack Muscovy. If you rival them, they are an alliance at -32. They haven't rivaled Muscovy, unfortunately, but they should be able to rival Muscovy if you roll a couple of times to see if you have a good situation. And they should help you kill off Muscovy. Remember that Muscovy has several forts and they're gonna be hard to dislodge, especially with their rivals that are Yaroslav and Pskov, which is gonna give them a bit more oomph on their troops and their separate manpower pools. So I recommend fighting off the armies of Pskov, sieging Pskov, then moving on to Yaroslav for example, then moving on to Kalish and Moscow as well. Remember that it's possible for you to get an alliance with Ryazan. They will want their lands, and you'll be able to get an alliance with Odiev as well. And that depends of they will want to join against Muscovy. The same can be said about Ryazan as well. So it's doable. As for Golden Horde, it's possible to get an alliance if you have the right diplomatic reputation, as well as the rival equivalent, and some improved relations is possible. Same goes for Kazan. So you can gang up on Muscovy and kill Muscovy, so they're gonna be dead. Do this several times. At the end, vassalize Muscovy, so you can get their lands back. The lands that Kazan and Golden Horde took from them, you can get it back with simple, with just a return in that war. Now, on Denmark side, alliance with Poland. As I said before, you will need to wait until you get the right favors with Poland so you can call in Sweden. Or if Poland declares war on Denmark and then they call in, if you do this, they will check the fact that you want lands, they're gonna call in the war, and if you have the right to war participation, you can demand those lands. To some degree, they're gonna give you lands that you have claims on. You can risk it as well, and for example, request Belinge. Or if you are the war leader, which is highly unlikely, try to move as much into this area here. Basically, you can move all the way up to Belinge or to Bornhold. That is about it. Skane is too far ahead, so you cannot move to Skane, unfortunately. So you can only move to Belinge, then get some more claims on Denmark, on Sweden as well, so you can move forward if you are the war leader. If you are the war leader, you're gonna have to be at the mercy of Poland. You're still gonna be able to expand to some degree, but it's still gonna be difficult. My recommendation is to release Finland as a vassal. Whilst releasing Finland as a vassal, you can actually take lands from Sweden. Now, it's possible that Poland will support the release of Sweden. So Scotland, if that happens, you'll be able to move into Sweden with your own armies, because you're gonna have the same amount of troops. Then you can fabricate claims on Sweden. Just take this land here, for example, the land here in Abo, and let's say the land Vastrogotland, any of these provinces here, so you can fabricate claims, whatever you want, whatever floats your boat. So you can fabricate claims, release release Finland, then the next war, give back the course of Finland, then with the claim fabrication declare war again on Sweden and simply vassal feed them to Finland. Same goes for Norway. If you have the Deusvold CB, you'll simply be able to declare war on Sweden with that Deusvold CB with no actual problems. If you get to Deusvold, depending on how you want to go, either for first influence or first military, depending on how good of a player you are and if you can maximize some stuff. Now, let's look at some more stuff. So, this is basically the early game, I'll call it. The first 50 years, I'll say that this is the early game. So, Tver, you go in order, the Teutonic Order, targets, then Denmark, and if Sweden breaks free, you can attack Sweden as well. Remember, they might also get an alliance with Poland if they get broken free. So try to have an acting war against somebody who's Poland as your ally, so you can actually declare war on Sweden with them not joining in that war. As for Muscovy here, attacking them with the help of the Golden Horde, Kazan, Ryazan, Odoyev, whatever you can bring against Muscovy so you can squash them. Then splitting the lands between these guys and yourself. To you goes the larger share, of course, and simply moving on through Muscovy until you can actually vassalize them, or they are OPM, for example, you can vassalize, or they have just like one province or anything of that sort, so you can vassalize them. Now, they should be done, I would say, at least the Muscovy part, 3-4 wars if they're all successful, I would say, and depending on how many lands you can take. If you look at Muscovy right now, 244, so you need at least 3 wars so that you can take all of their lands, and it's gonna be a little bit difficult. Even with the truce timer, it's gonna be like maybe 20 years per war when the truce ends, so It's doable by the 1500s. Depends on if the follow-up war, you're gonna declare the war by yourself, and you're not gonna go in the Golden Horde because they're gonna be weekend. So you can actually do some more cheeky stuff. Again, it depends on your own mental ability and how you can expand. After you have attacked Sweden, basically say that Sweden has broken free. You can Poland attacked, you take some lands here. It's gonna be really difficult for you to move into Sweden and Norway, and it's gonna be a trench warfare until you can reach Scotland and England and France, etc. If Sweden broke free, you can do the stuff with Poland. If they're allies still with Poland, declare a war with, on the Teutonic Order, for example, and call in Poland, and then declare war on Sweden, then do some cheeky stuff there and kill off Sweden, release Finland, take the lands all the way to Västra Götaland, for example, then attack Denmark again, for example, and take lands from Denmark and Norway, and take all the way lands to Orkney, and that will lead you to the basically to the mid game. It's possible to get to the mid game this fast only if Sweden breaks free. If Sweden doesn't break free, it's gonna be a bogged down war, trench warfare, the same as in my Teutonic Order campaign, where I'm basically just boxed in between Denmark, Poland, and Denmark, Poland, and that's about it. And I'm allied with Muscovy, so again, difficulties there, but that's my own problems. So let's say that this went well, and you're in the mid game. Let's say 1510. Golden Horde Kazan. Attack Golden Horde Kazan with the with the religious recipe. Make vassals, vassal feed, slowly move into these guys. You're gonna be able to pull it off quite fast, simply because you're gonna have more tech than they have, because they're hordes, and that's gonna be great. One thing to remember: the Golden Hordes will actually raise stuff here, so try to give them as less lands as possible, because they're gonna raise. They're gonna raise, and they're gonna raise big time, and you don't want them to raise your own the provinces that are part of your own culture. So basically they can actually raise this, but it's not nice for them to raise this, for example. You can give them to raise this, which are relic, but do not give them Russian lands that are part of your own culture. If you look here, culture should be here. So you can feed them relic lands, but do not feed them Moscow lands, whatever you do. So you can just feed them one land from Perm, and this land here from Kasimov. So the Golden Horde, then you're golden. So move on, attack these guys, attack Crimea, attack Nogai. It's gonna take you a while, but if you're cheeky enough and smart enough, you can just build tunnels, so you can actually attack the next guy, and the vassal feed a huge amount of land and have a huge vassal that annex him. Again, build up more trade power into Novgorod trade node and get more cash that way. This is pretty much it for the rest of the game on the east side, until you can reach the Ottomans in this side here, and it's gonna be problematic there. Again, this is part of the late game, and in the late game it's I cannot advise you anything in the late game, simply because I do not know what will happen. Although the Ottomans are really big and they survive, it depends on the status of their survival. Sometimes they survive and they expand quite low. Sometimes they expand like bastards and they already reach Persia by some stroke of luck by the, let's say, 1520s, if they're lucky enough. Now, on the west front, let's see that everything went well. Next target, Scotland. I mean, quite simple. Take care of Scotland, attack Scotland, and kill off Scotland. Then move on to England, and that will basically lead you into the 1600s, 1550s, 1600s, depending on your own speed. And that's gonna be probably, you have to kill off England, though you can just debark lands into Scotland, move them into England by the mainland. If you have enough troops, England is dead. You don't need to waste your ships in fighting England. As for the Irish miners, again, you can take them as well. The problem here becomes France. And at the same time, the problem that you're gonna face is the Reformation, which is gonna hit here and it's gonna hit you really hard. So it depends if you can still stay Orthodox. Although it might spread to Central Reformation is problematic. Again, it's doable to just not remain Orthodox, but if you're pressured enough, you might want to switch to Protestant if you are in deep trouble. As for killing off France is part of the late game, it's gonna be a really difficult war in fighting off against France. You're gonna need a beachhead into France. You're gonna have to fight the French forts. God damn it, the French forts are huge. Like the France has what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, what, 15? No, 14 forts, right? No, it's Calais as well. Oh, it's 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, no, 15. So 15 forts. If they take Barrow as well is 16 forts. So the French region is quite big and quite annoying. And you're gonna be hard pressed to fight off the French. Actually, let's go to region here. The French region. You're gonna be really hard pressed to fight off the French. Ooh, part of France. But anyway, you can also go for expansion, for exploration as well, if you hit Scotland at a decent time, which means that if you go influence, admin, religious, the next is gonna be exploration, and that's the military idea, and if you can quantity, influence, religious, then exploration. That is gonna be the best option there. Or quantity, influence, exploration is doable as well. But the common way is to go for religious to get those OCB, so you can expand faster. You're gonna have to pay You're gonna have to pay cash for exploration ideas to expand, and it's not gonna give you that much power. And you're gonna have to have an end trade node as well, so you can actually get the end trade here. You're gonna have to expand the HRE to get control of the English Channel trade node. It's gonna be a long war. Honestly, by the time you get control of the English Channel trade node, I'm gonna be honestly in China. I swear to God, by the time I get full control of the English Channel trade node, I'm gonna be all the way into China. If I go for a STI, no, it's next song. Yeah, I'll hit China. I'll tunnel my way to Uzbek, Koreat, and Rushming, and fight off Ming. I mean, I can pull it off. By the time I reach the English Channel trade node and fully take it over. But yeah, this was the expansion guide of Novgorod. I hope you enjoyed this. Comment if you want to know more, or if you have suggestions, and think of that sort. I'm Chevalier. I hope you enjoyed this. Ciao.